Today, in this video, let's dig deep into the world's deepest hole, the Kola Superdeep Borehole SG-3. The universe is a vast and never-ending reservoir of mysteries. Scientists have been working hard to solve these secrets of the universe using their knowledge and modern technology, from the farthest reaches of outer space to the Earth's core. Scientists have traveled to places our forefathers could never have imagined. Every one of us has wondered what lies beneath the surface of our planet. How low can we really go? Experts have accepted this challenge. They've spent the last 5 decades trying to drill a hole deeper than any other. The goal is to eventually reach the Earth's mantle, which accounts for 40% or more of the planet. The radius of the Earth is approximately 4,000 miles, and the mantle is nearly 18 miles thick. Regardless of whether you believe it or not, the mantle is the primary engine driving our planet's ongoing evolution. It preserves the geological record of the majority of Earth's history. With Project Mole Hole, scientists attempted to reach the mantle for the first time in 1958. American engineers drilled through the floor of the Pacific Ocean near Guadalupe, Mexico, for this project, but funding was cut off by Congress in 1966 before the drills could reach the mantle. So, what would we discover if we dug a hole down to the center of it? There is a Soviet Union project that can give you a rough idea. Today, we'll tell you how it all started and why the world's deepest hole was recently sealed. The Soviet Union named a scientific drilling project the Kola Superdeep Hole. It is located on the Kola Peninsula in the Petsky district, close to the Russian border with Norway. The project's goal was to drill as deeply as humanly possible into the Earth's crust. Drilling began on May 24, 1970, with the assistance of the UAL Mesh. For the same purpose, the 4E and later the UAL Mesh 15,000 series drilling rigs were used. In 1979, the Kola Superdeep Hole backed up, the largest man-made hole in history. The 23-centimeter diameter boreholes were drilled by branching from a central point. In 1989, the deepest hole reached a depth of 12,262 meters and was declared the deepest artificial point on Earth. In terms of true vertical depth, it is the world's deepest borehole. It was also the world's longest borehole in terms of measured depth for 2 decades before being surpassed in 2000 by the 12,289-meter-long Al Shaheen oil well in Qatar. When drilling began in 1970, the UMash 4E serial drilling rig was used, but it was slightly modified so that it could reach a depth of nearly 7,000 meters. In 1974, a new purpose-built drilling rig known as the UAL Mesh 15,000 was installed on the site. It was named after the new target depth of 15,000 meters. The Kola Superdeep Hole broke the world record of the Bertha Rogers Hole in Washtenaw County, Oklahoma, United States, in June 1979. The Bertha Rogers Hole reached a depth of 9,583 meters. In October 1982, the first hole reached a depth of 11,662 meters, and in January 1983, drilling for the second hole began from the 9,300 feet deep first. In the same year, the drill reached 12,000 meters in the second hole. This was a huge accomplishment, and to commemorate it, drilling was halted for a year. Several scientific and celebratory visits were made to the site during this time. This break period played a role in the breakdown that occurred after drilling resumed in 1984. On September 27, 1984, a 5,000-millimeter section of the drill string twisted off and was found at a depth of 12,066 meters. Drilling resumed in September 1986, 7,000 meters from the first hole. In 1989, this third hole reached a depth of 12,262 meters. This was less than the geologists had anticipated, but it was still an accomplishment. Another breakdown occurred in June 1990, and drilling for a fourth hole was restarted from a depth of 9,653 meters in the third hole. It was halted in April 1992, but drilling for a fifth hole of 11,882 meters resumed in April 1994. Due to a lack of resources, the drilling was permanently halted at 8,278 meters depth in the third hole in August 1994. Temperatures at this depth and location were unusually high. Experts predicted that the temperature would reach a maximum of 100 degrees Celsius, but it actually reached around 180 degrees Celsius. They realized that drilling any further would be impossible. At this depth, the Earth's density dropped unexpectedly. The porosity was significantly higher. Because of the high temperatures, the rocks down there behaved almost like plastic, making drilling nearly impossible. The Kola is extremely deep. The borehole reached the Archean rocks at the bottom after penetrating a third of the way through the Baltic Shield continental crust. The continental crust of the Baltic Shield is nearly 35 kilometers thick. This project has been put on hold while extensive geophysical investigations are carried out. Scientists were perplexed when they discovered no transition from granite to basalt. They discovered that the metamorphic transition in the granite rock was the true cause of the change in seismic wave velocity at depths of around 7 kilometers. Aside from that, the rock there has been thoroughly fractured and saturated with water, which, unlike surface water, originated from deep crust minerals but was unable to reach the surface due to the overlying layer of impermeable rock. The massive amounts of hydrogen gas were another strange discovery. It was so plentiful that the scientists described the drilling mud flowing out of the hole as boiling with water. The working group Kola 92 and numerous participants from various specialties were successful in obtaining a seismic crustal cross-section from the well in 1992. Researchers from the Universities of Edinburgh and Glasgow in Scotland, the University of Bergen in Norway, and several Russian earth science research institutions were present. Professor David Smith filmed the experiment in great detail. When the drilling was completed in 1995, the scientific teams were transferred to Kola, a federal and state unitary subsidiary enterprise. Superdeep, reduced, and reoriented to a detailed study of the Earth's exposed crust. The scientific team was permanently disbanded in 2007, and the equipment was partially liquidated and partially transferred to a private entity. Because it was not profitable, the company was liquidated in 2009, and the Kola Superdeep Borehole site was completely abandoned. However, the Kola Superdeep Borehole SG-3 still holds the world record for depth at an incredible 12,262 meters, making it the deepest artificial point on Earth. To be honest, the scientists weren't expecting to find any signs of life that deep into the Earth's crust. But, as with every other location they've visited, nature wowed them with its mysterious and powerful ways. Nothing was alive that deep, but they did discover plankton and fossils. The geological data obtained from this incomprehensibly deep hole was eye-opening, but it was the paleontological revelations that caught everyone off guard. In a super deep borehole, scientists discovered fossils estimated to be at least 2 billion years old, nearly 6.4 kilometers down the Kola. When these microscopic plankton fossils were discovered, they were mostly undamaged. Despite the harsh environmental conditions in the house, scientists were able to deduce from the fossils that at least 25 species of plankton existed so deep in the earth. Experts believed that if they had gone any further, they would have discovered more. These organisms were encased in organic matter, which proved to be quite resistant to the environment down the hole. More information about biodiversity in the Earth's depths could not be found because the drilling was halted. Many people think that the fall of the powerful Soviet Union stopped it, but most scientists think that it was just one of many things that stopped it. Some researchers believe that because water was discovered down there, it was only natural that some form of life adapted and lived there in the past. A strange phenomenon caused the water to form. The immense pressure inside forced hydrogen and oxygen atoms out of the rock, and once these atoms were squeezed out, the water had nowhere to go due to the impermeable rock layer. Many conspiracy theorists speculated that the discovery of these plankton fossils was what forced Russia to halt the project. In reality, the Kola Superdeep Borehole project was not cancelled for this reason. The truth is that it got too hot to drill any further. In fact, it was reported at the time that the heat was wreaking havoc on the equipment. Despite this, some theorists have proposed that the Soviets never truly stopped digging even after their country was divided into individual countries, which is clearly false because there is evidence that the whole thing was sealed and people can visit the site to confirm. Keeping the ball in play became increasingly difficult. It was like trying to keep a pit in the center of a pot of boiling soup. This dig also revealed that the sedimentary rocks discovered date back to the Proterozoic era, which began around 2.4 billion years ago. The deeper granitic strata appear to have been laid down as early as 2.7 billion years ago, during the first geologic era. The Earth is enriched with lithium, nitrogen, and carbon dioxide, in addition to hydrogen and oxygen, as discovered in the borehole. Even though the Earth's core is the thinnest of all layers, humans have yet to drill all the way through it. Even if we attempted to drill the inner core, we'd have to drill through solid iron, which only appears to be simple in theory. This would be extremely difficult due to the near-zero gravity near the Earth's core. The Kola Superdeep Hole was extremely deep, but it only made it 1/3 of the way through the Earth's crust. It was, however, the furthest anyone had gotten at the time. The once exciting Kola Superdeep Borehole is now just a destination for adventure-seeking tourists. The project had its ups and downs before it was finally shut down in 2005 due to a lack of funding. Although the drilling and research equipment were removed from the site, the data obtained from the hole is still being analyzed by experts all over the world. Later, the hole was welded, followed by a metal cap that can still be seen covering it today. The Kola Superdeep Borehole project did not last long, but that did not deter scientists from digging deeper into the Earth. The German Continental Deep Drilling Program in Bavaria in 1990 kept the legacy alive by passing through seismic plates and experiencing temperatures as high as 315 degrees Celsius. Even the Germans, however, were unable to go any further than 6 miles due to a lack of funding. Science and exploration may not have been a compelling enough reason to delve so deeply into them, but oil was, and that's probably why, in May 2008, MassOil used the GSF rig 127 operated by Transocean, also known as the Al Shaheen oil, to drill the world record extended reach well known as BDOH-4 in the field. It was drilled incident-free to a record length of 12,290 meters in only 36 days. That is extremely fast when compared to the length of the drilling of the Kola Superdeep Borehole. Do you think scientists will be able to drill through the Earth's core someday, and what will happen if they do? Tell us in the comments section below.